Welcome back to my garage. When you're watching this, hopefully I'm in Colorado doing successful testing of this engine in the land speed bike. Previous video, you saw me welding a little bit here and a little bit here and there with varying success. Not bad for being the absolute first attempt without really playing with the settings or anything. Especially this one just came out beautifully. You saw the welder, strange welder. And this video is sponsored by Laser Lab. And actually our Bonwell effort this year is also sponsored by Laser Lab. So thank you, Laser Lab. Today we'll try out the machine. I've done this and I've welded like for 5 minutes some test pieces just to see how everything worked. And for those first test pieces I forgot to turn the wire feeder on, but still super nice results. So well, let's get started. Before I show you the machine and the accessories and we start testing it, I want to make sure you understand that it's not a toy. If you decide to buy one or get one, it's definitely not a toy. It's super dangerous. It's a class 4 laser, and class 4 lasers, that's the highest class for normal laser rating, and that starts at half a watt. Indirect exposure to a 0.5 watt laser can blind you and burn your skin. This is 700 watts, so it's 140 times more powerful than the laser that can already blind you with indirect exposure. So and reflections and stuff, you got to be super careful with this. I'm going to be super careful. I'm actually going to be super careful. My machine arrived in 2 small wooden crates. First crate had the machine itself and accessories for it. Second crate had the wire feeder. Accessories: the gun itself, here with the wire feeder attached. This has a power like weld button and also a mode switch button where you can program various modes. On top here you can take out like a cassette and replace the focusing lens and the protection lens in there. I got boxes of said lenses here, spare ones. So if you get any dirt, it's a laser and it's super powerful, so if you get any dirt at all on that lens, well then the laser won't go through, it'll burn the lens. So they're consumables, the lenses in here. And the gas flow, so this is meant to be run with nitrogen or argon gas. You can also use compressed air. But the main function of that gas flow is to cool the torch and also keep everything clean in here. Received a manual, a good manual, some protection glasses, goggles. They're CE marked and they're over OD7, it says. Hopefully that's good enough for watching while welding. I think it is. My eyes are still working after a few minutes. We got some gloves, a face mask, like a respirator, additional ground clamp. So how this works is, you can see how thin it is, and that's because it doesn't really ground anything, because we're not welding with electricity per se here, we're welding with light. So this is just to like, you have to have this connected for the laser to work. Like, it has to be contact between, has to be a loop, and that's for safety, so you don't fire the laser willy-nilly around your house or garage. You can of course clamp this to the laser itself and then not have that security, and you might need to in some cases. Nozzles for the wire feeder and some tools. Here are some focusing lenses and a box of various nozzles for various operations. Came with that grounding wire I talked about, and also this remote kill switch. And thanks to this very good manual, the machine was very easy to assemble and set up. Well, hook everything together. Super good manual. There's also instructions for how the procedure for taking out the lenses and cleaning them and stuff. Let's pretend I haven't tried this at all before, which is very close to the truth. I'm starting with putting on my goggles just to be sure, even though the laser is not energized yet. Power button is on the back side of the machine. There's also the emergency stop button in front here, and plus a key so you can lock the machine if you want to. And then there's also the remote stuff. So this is the screen you're met with when you first turn on the machine. Here you can choose between welding, cutting and cleaning. We're going to start with welding. That's the only thing I've tried it for yet. Confirm. And here's the settings. You have power, swing frequency, so that's how fast it swings from side to side, and swing width. So the laser is not just a point pointing at the same spot all the time. It swings back and forth 64 times a second, 2 millimeters. So like 1 millimeter to each side. Down here you can choose between continuous, the only thing I've tried yet, and pulse. Here you can turn the gas on to purge the gun. Turn wire feed on. Here's settings for wire feed. You can see how it's set to 10 millimeters per second now. The rest of the settings are for what happens when you release the trigger, I think. How far the wire is pulled back and stuff. More, here's some settings for gas flow, where you can have gas flow before welding and after and stuff. And then settings, monitoring system. Here you can monitor temperatures, if the e-stop is tripped, stuff like that, and see if stuff needs to be cleaned, the focusing lens. Even though the machine is powered on, as of now, it won't do anything if you push the button on the gun. You have to press this first, and then it'll tell you to put on your glasses. And then you'll have to push it again. Okay, let's prepare a little sample, and first let's do a fusion weld, and then wire feed, and then let's try some aluminium, and then let's try some cutting and maybe some cleaning. Up here you can choose various materials, and it'll give you settings suitable for those materials and thicknesses. So SUS is stainless steel, and you can choose thickness. Carbon steel, choose thickness. SEC, I'm not quite sure what. Oh, that's galvanized. And then aluminium, and I think these are user-defined settings. So I'm going to choose carbon steel, 2 millimeters. Gives me 85% power, 64 hertz swing frequency, and 2 millimeter swing width. So let's see how that works. And first fusion welding. One more thing, under settings, red light alignment, that's important. In here you can align the little red laser that there's a little red laser, and you can use that to align the actual laser to where you want it. And you want it in the middle of your wire when you're wire feeding, or just in the middle of your nozzle. Super easy to set. You just push these arrows to align it. So this is my only experience so far. Plus the tab you saw me welding onto my exhaust. This was my first ever weld. I pretty much just turned the machine on and pressed play, and it just turned out so super awesome. This was just fusion welding. I thought I was wire feeding, but I wasn't. I hadn't turned on the wire feed, but well, I was just amazed. So let me see if I can replicate that for you now. This is 2 millimeter mild steel, and now we're going to try just fusion welding first. So I'm just going to run a bead here. Even with my inconsistent speed and jittery motion, it turns out just beautiful. Like, it looks like there's a professional at work here. And I can assure you, there's no professional at work here. Okay, let's do the same thing with wire feed. 10 millimeters per second wire feed. I've seen some videos, and it seems like the gun kind of pushes you along. So I'm curious to see if I can feel that. Okay, now I'm going to see if I can feel I think I felt the pushing. Let's see here. I'm ripping the gun away, because otherwise it'll get stuck. So it's not like with TIG where you're supposed to stay there and hold for a long while. With this, you kind of have to do like an abrupt stop, it seems. But look at that. And the wire just pushed me nicely along and decided my pace, even though it was kind of jerky. But the results are just insanely amazing. I mean, look at that. Wow. Full penetration. And just super consistent. Let's try some thinner stuff and then some aluminium. I haven't got aluminium wire yet, but we can do some fusion welding, I hope. 0.9mm mild steel, typical expansion pipe material. I'm going into the material chooser thing, and I'll choose 1mm carbon steel. Wire feed speed is still at 10mm per second. That's not changing with the base setting, so I'm just going to keep it there and see what happens. I have a habit of forgetting to turn on my welding helmet. I even sometimes forget to put it on, and with this, that's not an option. This has just been wiped down with acetone, so it's not super clean. So let's see how it behaves. I really don't want to have my fingers in front of the torch, because reflections might weld my hands too. Oh. Might have been some dirt there. Let's tack it here too. Okay, let's try to lay down a bead. There's definitely penetration. That's blowing through. I wonder if this doesn't behave like typical MIG, where if you add more wire, it cools the weld and adds more bulk. Maybe I can actually control the... Like, I could always travel at my own pace, but I want to see if we can have it do the control for me. I'm trying that again, but now with 20mm per second wire feed, to see if that if it behaves differently. Wow, look at that. So you can use the wire feed for... I'm wondering if something is too tight, as it's like moving in pulses. Or maybe it's just because the wire feed hose is long. But look at that. Wow, with no effort. Like, I'm pretty much just holding onto the torch and letting it do the job. Let's try one more. Ripped away too late. Look at that. Damn. Let's try the other side. A little more inconsistent there, and that was because I was kind of letting off the pressure on the torch. Well, it seems like it works best. Well, at the moment, for me, it works best when I kind of let the wire push me a little bit. I'm not going too much along with it. And that's why it's kind of jerky, I think. But so it acts jerky, but the results are awesome. Let's try a fusion butt weld. There, we got a tack going. A little bit misaligned, but I think it's good. Wow. And it's so fast. It's so fast. Look at that. It's like a race car. I'm amazed. I'm truly amazed by this. Let's try some aluminium. There's a nice bead there. I think some filler wire would be preferable, but still a super nice aluminum weld. Let's do the other side. 4mm swing width. Kind of with that kind of swing width, it's digging into the sides. Okay, I'm gonna get some wire and try this properly, but now I can weld aluminium. That's pretty cool. It's actually super cool and super useful. So far we've had amazing results, and that's with no fiddling with settings at all. I've only used presets, and the results are, it's my best welds, the best welds I have ever done, ever. And it's my first few minutes with the machine. Just amazing. We haven't tried any thick stuff yet, no. This is meant for like 3, maybe even 4mm, but it's not meant for thick stuff. I think it can do thick stuff. What I'm gonna do now is I think I'm just gonna remove this screw, because then we can take the wire feeder completely off and it'll still be in the correct position. And I'm gonna switch out the nozzle for the widest one, and we're gonna see how cleaning works, and then we're gonna do some cutting. I could angle this away, but I think I'll just remove it altogether. And it's easier to just put it back on. So now we're without wire feed. This is the nozzle for the smallest kind of wire. I'm using 0.8mm plain mild steel wire. So this one's for dual wire feed and also cleaning, I think, as it's the widest. Look at that one. It's meant for dual wires. Selecting the cleaning setting. I'm just going to run with the settings here. 40% power, 1000 Hertz, 100% duty cycle, so that's continuous, and 8mm width somewhere where it's focusing. That will of course get wider if you pull it back. So let's just see what happens. Whoa. Huh. It's hard to see what's happening, but it's definitely cleaning. Let's cook the rust all right. Seems to be doing a good job. It just blasts off the surface. Mill scale is cleaned off. Leaves a kind of rough surface, but there's definitely no more mill scale there. Yeah, cleans paint. Well, it cleans off the steel too. So at a lower setting, that's it's probably great for some like super stubborn paints. Cool. Cutting. This vertical cutting is strictly prohibited. Angled cutting is permissible. I think that's because you don't want reflections up into the lenses. But for CNC cutting, which is I'm going to build or buy a table that I can use for cutting, CNC cutting, I think you really need to have it vertical for you to be able to move everywhere. And another thing, just a side note there, this can weld underwater. I've seen this can weld underwater. That should mean it can cut underwater also, and that would be perfect for super thin stuff like spring steel. 0.2 millimeter spring steel, but I can actually cut it underwater and it won't warp. So that's something I want to try. Confirm. Okay, so this is full blast. Hopefully I won't trip the breaker. Let's see if I can cut through some 2 millimeter steel. 2 millimeter steel. I haven't changed out the nozzle and I'm not sure how far away I should stay. But I'm going to try just hovering above the surface here and see what happens. So, and I have no clue about speeds or anything. So here goes nothing. So is that through? No. I think I have to go slower. Whoa. What's going on there? Why is it like creeping up on me? Hopefully I haven't destroyed anything. Try a quick weld here. Quick weld to see that it's not destroyed. Might be I didn't press record, but the welder is working perfectly fine. So it's not destroyed. It's just me not doing the cutting properly. Been thinking about why my cutting performance was so bad. And first, of course, this doesn't work very well. Because we want to focus the gas into like a stream to shoot the material away. And so that's why you use this nozzle. And also I've turned up the gas flow. That was recommended somewhere in the manual, I think. I remember seeing it. So let's see what happens now with more gas flow and the correct nozzle. Cutting is not my strong side. Why am I so bad at this? Could it be that compressed air is better versus argon? That it oxidizes the cut better? Whoa, I was too close. Okay, so now we're talking. Too close. This was just a short little introduction to the machine. I'm gonna get some more experience with it and test some more stuff. And this will become super useful in my little prototyping adventure here. For like exhaust systems, brackets, jigs, like, well, a bunch of stuff. All the stuff you need welding for. And now I can weld aluminium too. I need to buy a spool of aluminium wire. I'm amazed. Amazing. This is amazing. The results I'm getting without any practice and without fiddling with any settings, just pushing the trigger and letting the gun push me along. And it's just amazing. Thank you Laser Lab for the machine, and thank you for supporting us at Bonneville this year. Thank you. More to come. See you next time.